You may have done this search. Why am I always tired? Is it environmental? Many of us have. We go into Google, we do the search. And the answer is that there's actually a lot of hidden environmental factors that are affecting energy, and they're things that most people never consider. So if you're constantly exhausted despite, all these other things that you're doing, maybe you feel like you're getting enough sleep, you're exercising, you're eating well, you're doing these good things, but you're still tired. So you can bet that what's unfolding is that there are hidden environmental factors that can be discovered that perhaps you haven't considered yet. And so let's explore the hidden environmental stressors that could be draining your energy, and then some immediate solutions that could be implemented easily to assist.
Modern life exposes us to unprecedented environmental stressors, and this modern life exhaustion affects all of the layers and levels within us. If there's fatigue, exhaustion, it just exacerbates anything else that's possibly going on inside of us.
Or around you.
It's pretty clear when we don't sleep well, but what isn't so clear are there's these unseen factors that are affecting us all daily. This includes your pets, your dogs, cats, even plants. Your exhaustion might be linked to invisible environmental factors. We're going to cover a couple of them here in this video, and we'll look at some solutions. Because that's the great news. There are solutions. First, we need to know what's going on, though. We need to look at the signs of the persistent exhaustion and other health indicators and body signals. Then we can look at solutions. Sometimes the ones that are the most simple are the best. We won't be going through all the solutions that we know of and offer in our work, but a couple of things that are easy and could be implemented quickly and affordable, sometimes even free. We have a longer form and more detailed article on our Substack channel linked below.
So let's get into one of the environmental stressors that we're going to talk about today. One is agricultural compounds and our food in these so-called modern times. So when we look at what's being done today in the agricultural practices, and then of course in the food making processes, when we compare that to ancient practices and how they grew their food, how it was prepared in these before times, there are so many differences. In fact, those differences are really hard to even list in all the ways. Because it's true that this modern way that we're looking at making food or doing things, it's not really modern. Shouldn't be considered like advanced. It shouldn't even be considered better. So in that context,
it's actually kind of gross in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And we're not going to get into all those things, but we're just going to talk about some high level stuff that are really, really important to know about. So many modern farmers are, they're under constant pressure. They've got to produce more and more and more to make more and more and more of that thing that we call money. And so as soon as that so-called industrial revolution happened, which I think, and I would say is a de-evolution, the practices and the way that farming and the creation of food happens, it's nothing like our ancient ancestors. So what used to be done was natural and organic, but now just too many farms, too many food makers, they're using compounds that weren't ever considered or they weren't even known about in these ancient organic and natural times, 200 plus years ago. So humans and animals lived in fundamentally different environments in these ancient times. They were not exposed to thousands of synthetic compounds that exist today in our environment. So if we look at how even animals lived in ancient times, they were let out into the pasture and then they were grazing on this clean and pure grass, that was never treated with agricultural chemicals that we use today. Their food sources were completely natural, and so were ours. Even our grandparents and their animals, and just the way that this earth was, so fewer environmental chemical exposures. Now what we see in these times is that our pets, our livestock, of course thereby humans, etc., we're facing more environmental chemical exposure than ever before. And in ancient times, just the living conditions, it was just more natural. There was pure drinking water sources that were everywhere, eating from unaltered soil, breathing unpolluted air, etc. So if someone from ancient times popped in to say hello today, they would look around and think, what in the hell is this?
They'd probably even just suffocate or disintegrate or something.
Yeah, in fact,
can't even exist in this.
Yeah, we've seen a movie. Was with the genie, the
3,000 years of longing. Yeah, something like that.
It's an interesting one. It's a long story, but the genie comes in and basically can't survive because of the environmental stressors. So it's an interesting way to look at that. That's basically what would happen. So now we can also look at, okay, the way the food is made today, the way that it comes from farm to table is nothing like it was when it was natural and organic. Food production methods have also changed significantly. There isn't really a word to, it's like huge, significant, massive. And again, this is for humans and our pets. Our pets are paying a huge price too, just like we are. And so agricultural chemicals accumulate. They accumulate in the environment, they accumulate in the soil, and then guess where that ends up? Oh yeah, yep, in our bodies, and of course in the animals' bodies too. So the fact that, conventional farming relies on synthetic applications, this is getting us deeper and deeper and deeper into the impure. And so the focus can be on ways now, seeing this, like, let's look at the simple ways. Let's get back into a more simplified way of doing things. Overly processed foods, of course, pale in comparison to the benefits of the whole foods that are organic and pure. And so with this known, we can sit here and we can, we don't want to stress about it. We just want to say, okay, this is happening. Now, what can I do for myself? What can I do for my loved ones? What can I do for my friends? And many of you, and pets, and our little pets. Many of you may be called into, like we are, into natural and organic ways, like the primordial times, like the ancient times. We have land. We're going to be slowly cultivating that. We're going back into what has been coined as simple living, but it's not so simple. It's shit tons of work. So, but it's like less ingredients, right? Because it seems harder today to create pure foods because, there's a lot of regeneration of the soil that needs to happen in many locations first, depending on what was there before. So, in fact, if you've heard of regenerative farming, it's beautiful. And there's actually a great site called regenerationinternational.org. We linked it below. Take a look at that. It has great resources, but it's about getting the soil clean and organic, free from the agricultural chemicals. And this can take several years. So, some benefits can be seen early on, but some of the more significant changes that are needed can take like 5 or 10 years. So it's not a quick process. It depends on a lot of varying factors. And so basically what we're looking at is we need to get back into these practices that are really about getting into local regions, getting our local regions regenerated. And so that's one big solution, and looking at these kinds of practices. And then that can extend out from where you are and where you're doing more of this regenerative farming practices. Another solution is looking at how we can cleanse and purify our bodies. We can't control things 100%. We can't stress about them constantly either. I mean, we've totally been there because that creates more issues. Yeah. So what we're going to be looking at here is I want to share one thing that we have had a profound relationship with, and that is the far infrared sauna that we got. Harnessing the power of invisible light waves. It's our far infrared therapy. That's the key. Penetrates deep into the body, really goes into the places to reduce
the tissues.
Yeah, alleviating pain, detoxing the body from the inside out. It is truly an overall well-being solution that was so game-changing for us. When I was when I was very ill, like a decade ago, and it took me so long to figure out what was going on, environmental stressors were a big part. The one thing that I realized, there has to be a way to get things out of the body. Sweat is awesome. And this far infrared relax sauna that we have, we're going to link more information on it below, because regular detoxification is essential. More frequently than, I I think many realize. And so this sauna is just one thing that you can get that provides a safe and effective way to achieve this. And it's vital to look at that far infrared component because it works with the body's cells on a vibrational level rather than against them. So again, you can see that article linked below to check it out because we love that thing.
Yeah, and it's not this big, huge thing that you're thinking of in terms of sauna. It's portable. You can even pack it up into a bag and take it on vacation with you or to your cabin in the woods or whatever. And you just plug it in and you sit in it, your head sticks out, and you sweat your booty off in like 15 minutes.
Sometimes in 5.
It's rough
intense,
sometimes, but it's working when you're dripping.
Yeah, the days where you can't even in fact, you're not even allowed to go over 30 minutes in this particular one because it is intense, and it's that far infrared aspect that makes it so. So anyway, it's a good one.
Yeah. So as Natalie was saying, there's all these invisible environmental factors that affect our well-being in a negative manner. This means that many do not realize the impacts because it is invisible. However, think about something like our emotions for a moment. Can you see emotions flying around? Can you literally see love floating through the air as if it's a wisp of clouds? Of course not. We can very much feel it, though. We can sense it. We can establish a connection with it, but we don't see it with our eyes. This, in turn, of course, creates a chemical and hormonal process to occur within our body. Positive or negative. We feel these effects inside of us whether we're deeply connected to them or not. They are there. Likewise, there are frequencies that pervade our surroundings, our atmosphere, that have similar effects. Interestingly, they're not necessarily man-made, but rather naturally occurring frequencies that are harnessed by humankind through technology and innovation. We tap into these frequencies every day, and in some instances 24/7, in order to work, to play, to connect with others, to shoot videos. While many of these tools can be useful in order to live in this modern age, the implications of how technology surrounds us are vast. Think about right now, while you're sitting wherever you're sitting watching this video, you're using the internet and are likely connected to Wi-Fi. That right there is a frequency. If you're on your computer, maybe you also have your phone nearby, another frequency. In order to connect these devices, you have a router, putting out more frequencies. Even microwave ovens and cordless landline phones, if you still have one, those emit frequencies. Electric companies now use meters that automatically send information to them on your electric usage for billing purposes. No longer does the meter man come by to read it manually. And even LED light bulbs. They emit frequencies that are different from natural light. Maybe you're familiar with the term blue light, and maybe have heard some things about that too. Computer screens, phone screens, TV screens, LED light bulbs, they all emit this blue light. This is why I'm wearing these glasses right now. I'll talk about that later. This type of light is what the sun emits naturally, which, fun fact, that's why our sky is blue. The sun's color frequency refracts through the atmosphere, manifesting the blue sky that we all know and love. It's naturally occurring from the sun while the sun is out, but when it sets and it becomes nighttime, our bodies should not be taking that blue light in anymore, yet all of our devices emit it, potentially causing sleep pattern disruptions referred to as the circadian rhythm. Also, LED light bulbs flicker at an incredibly fast rate that is faster than our eyes can process, but it can still cause disruptions in our fields. If you want to test this, take a slow motion video of an LED light and you'll be able to see that flickering when you play it back. These devices have become commonplace everywhere in our homes, in businesses, in stores, in schools, hospital, airport, any building, anywhere basically has these technologies integrated widely. This means we're surrounded. While these frequencies are naturally occurring, like radio frequencies, light waves, sound waves, all having their place in the realm of physics and engineering, it's the frequency at which we use them that can cause the issues. So let's look at that word frequency itself for a moment. Defined in the world of physics as the number of periods or regularly occurring events of any given kind of unit of time, usually in a second, or the number of cycles or completed alternations per unit time of a wave or oscillation. So it literally means the amount of times something happens in a given period. So if a router in your home is sending signals to your computer so that you can be online and doing work, it's sending signals constantly back and forth, communicating. It's doing that literally every second of every day, right now. Think about the amount of devices you might have hooked up. Your phones, your tablets, your kids' phones, or your spouse or your roommates' phones and tablets, TVs, lighting, like we talked about the LED lights. Even some appliances nowadays have these Bluetooth connectability. Well, that means that field of communication gets wider and wider and wider, literally creating a mesh or net through the entire home. And in this age of connectivity, that's what most people want, and can get frustrated when there's dead zones or bad signals and you can't do what you need to do. This mesh fills the space with these signals so that we can stay connected. But here's the kicker. Our bodies are made of electromagnetic fields too. We are power plants in and of ourselves. It's how our brain communicates with our organs. It's how our nervous system responds to situations. It's how our thoughts and emotions, they're all energy-based too. This is what we call the vital life force, which we've talked about in previous videos, or the chi within us. The invisible power source that keeps our blood flowing, our breath respirating, our immune system active, and hopefully functioning optimally. Now, we all have these other frequencies flying around our space with the potential to disrupt our natural rhythms. Do you find yourself feeling tired too often, tossing and turning while sleeping, digestive issues, emotional imbalances through outbursts or suppression? All of these could be signals of the inundation of those frequencies around us. So what can we do about this? There's many tools and products on the market aimed at reducing the exposure. But unfortunately, unless you go completely off the grid and live in the woods, you won't completely avoid it. And even then, honestly, with the amount of satellites in low and high orbit, beaming signals all over the place, our planet has just become blanketed. So you can't really escape it. All we can do is be mindful of the usage, mindful of the sources, and reduce the exposure when and where possible. So I have a lot of tips that you can see in the article on Substack, but we're going to give you two things right here, right now. So the first thing I mentioned, I pointed to these glasses before earlier in the video, and these are blue blocker glasses. I do not need them to see. I can see just fine, but I'm wearing these very specifically, A, for the purposes of this video, but B, I wear them in general because they have a special lens in them that is not prescription based, although they can be from certain companies. You can get prescriptions in them, but they're designed to block or reflect or diffuse the blue light that's coming into your eyes. So rather than going directly into your eyes, there's a protection layer here. So you can wear these all day if you want, but particularly at night, it's great. If you're on your computer, if you're watching TV, if you're just doing something with an LED light on in your kitchen, you can wear these glasses to help reduce that exposure of that blue light going into your eyes, because it's nighttime. Like we talked about, when the sun goes down, we are not supposed to be taking that blue light in anymore. But we do because of all the things around us. So put the glasses on. There's many different companies these days where you can get them from. They're pretty affordable, and it will help reduce some of that exposure. Particularly, I would say at least 2 hours before you go to sleep. More if possible, but at least a couple of hours before you go to sleep, reduce your blue light exposure as much as you can, and these glasses are an easy way to do that. Second tip. This is an easy one and very affordable. If you've ever gone away on vacation and you plug in your lights to a timer to make it look like you're still at home at nighttime, that timer is an awesome thing to use to plug your router into. So you get one of these timers, they're super affordable at any hardware store or online. You plug it in to where your router goes, plug the router into that, and you can set on a dial what time you want the router to go on and off. So definitely at night, when you're going to bed, have it automatically click off at whatever time you normally go to bed, and have it remain off until whatever time you normally wake up and need that signal again. That way, the house is just calm and not having these signals beaming when you're not even needing to use it. Also, if you are not working from home, if you work from home, you probably need to have it on. But if you're not working from home and you leave your house for hours at a time, have it turn off again. It's especially useful if you have pets that are staying at home. They don't need to be sitting here baked in this stuff while you're not here using it. So turn it off when you're not home. You can do that manually with a little switch on it, or if it's the same time every day, your work hours, you can have it set automatically to pop off when you leave and pop back on when you come home if you may need it. So super simple to set up. Once you set it up once, you leave it unless your hours change for some reason. But very easy, very affordable, and an effective way to reduce that constant exposure.
Also, it's a reminder to go to bed. It often tells us, it's time, go to bed.
Yeah. Turn your shit off and go to bed.
You're done.
Because ours automatically clicks off at a certain time. And if we're in the middle of something, it just clicks off. And like, okay.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We need to stop.
Thank you, timer.
Yeah. So, this leaves us with, just thinking about the fact that, yes, there are chemical burdens. Yeah, there are radiation burdens and other things. So it's safe to say that ancient humans, animals in this earth, in this time before, didn't have to face these kinds of environmental stressors. And so we have a different way that we need to look at things. This is that modern lens that we talk about often in our stuff. So it's just important to know, be aware of, and then, again, figure out these solutions. And there are many, but it's figuring out the ones that are easier to do and that you can use over and over and over, that can be implemented quickly, easily, and that maybe all of your family can actually benefit from as well.
Yeah, and most of this stuff is pretty cheap too. This sauna, for example, not so cheap, but
it's not that expensive either.
Timer is, $20 or whatever. And I'll just give you one last one. It's a free one. Go outside, get your bare feet in the ground.
Yeah.
You want to look up earthing or grounding and take a deep dive into other videos and articles, please go for it. It's awesome, but super quick, super easy, and of course free. Go outside, put your bare feet on the earth, grass or dirt.
Yeah.
Any natural material.
Yeah. And again, we have that more in-depth article linked below, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.